Good morning. Good morning and welcome to once again to Live from the Heartland. We're here at the beautiful corner of Glenwood and Lunt where we started this whole rigmarole some 20 to 30 years ago. We can't really remember which. You know what was going on then. Come on, folks. All right, you are listening to Live from the Heartland. We have some great guests today. Anthony Mosher is going to sing us some songs and of resistance. At the end of the show, we got Gabe Gonzalez before him from Protect Rogers Park, Network 49 and Reclaim Chicago. We have Craig Champlain, longtime Rogers Parker, friend of the Heartland and the Red Line. I think he was a better friend of the Red Line, don't you? And then Ben Head is going to head us off with, so to speak, who is the political director at our Congresswoman's office. So we got a lot to talk about, guys. How are you?
Sure do.
We're good, Katy. How
Good
about
morning.
you?
I'm glad the sun is shining. I'm happy for sun. Today's a good day for everybody to go out and dig in the dirt. I mean the soil.
Do we got any dirt to talk about?
Sure. Let's kick it off.
How do you like that trash talk tour of the Middle East and Europe?
Oh, I'm so embarrassed.
Will anyone talk to this guy anymore?
I mean, did you see him rush up to get in the front of a photo?
That was not in the Middle East. That's when he came to Europe, and he had a much harder time when he got to Europe.
Yeah, no kidding. NATO.
And I saw an article today that said the Saudi Arabians played him.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh,
I think they're all playing him.
They played him pretty well.
I mean, he's playable, unfortunately. And there he
How about that young real estate mogul, his son, Jared?
couldn't happen to a nicer guy. All right, let's stop being mean.
Get serious.
I'm sorry, but the U.S. Appellate Court did block the travel ban once
Yes.
again.
That's good.
And
Probably
it's
headed to the Supreme Court.
probably.
Who knows what's going to happen there?
Yeah. Do you think? Do you know? Do you think? What do you
Well,
think?
I don't think we know what the newly
What the new guy-
configured court's going to do.
Right. Right.
But it was interesting that the decision recently on gerrymandering of voting districts in North Carolina, some of the more, what we would call the more conservative dudes on the Supreme Court actually supported the ban, overthrew the ban on voting rights that existed in those districts.
God, you just
I know, it was hard
confused
getting it
two
out.
different things and was very confusing. Does anybody know what Michael just said? No.
That's because you were trying to get the mic closer, but everyone thinks I'm close enough.
Oh, my goodness gracious. We've broken all the rules. Clark Street Visioning happens this week.
This is an interesting opportunity for neighbors to come together and take a look at what we could all do to improve both the built environment, transportation, and the attractiveness of this incredible business strip we have along Clark Street. Like most retailing strips, it's struggling because of the general shift in retailing, but there's some vibrancy, particularly because of the way the Latino, Hispanic, Caribbean community has brought restaurants and stores and all that. But there's marketing deficits, and there are a lot of empty storefronts, and this is a chance to kind of come together as a community and say, what do we want to see in 5 years, 10 years along Clark?
Well, it's also a perfect timing for it because of the possible developments coming down the pike, and let people have a say about what they'd like and not like to see happen. I mean, Clark Street, when it's going full tilt boogie, which hasn't happened in the last few years, was paseando, como decimos in español, when everybody just drives down the street real slow, checking everybody out, saying hello. Kind of like the Zocalo. Clark Street was the Zocalo in Rogers Park. That's the square. So it'll be interesting to see who shows up. It'll be interesting to see how people intend to keep the environment of our very diverse community on Clark Street.
And I think what's particularly intriguing is to move beyond planning by done deal, is to look more and more at how we could possibly improve the way development gets planned and done instead of just when the next developer comes along to fill in an empty lot. This is Tuesday evening from 5 to 8. It's a drop-in type of thing. You don't have to be there for 3 hours. In fact, I'm told you can probably get in and out in 20 to 30 minutes once you hear the presentation and participate in the interactive planning devices that they have available. It actually ought to be pretty neat. It's at 7004 North Clark Street from 5 to 8 p.m.
Thank you. We also have a Protect Rogers Park Forum on Thursday, June 1st, and that will be again at Living Water Church, and that's happening Thursday night, 7 o'clock. Go ahead, Michael.
Last week we neglected to mention, we're doing it now, that our good friend Bill Drew, a longtime activist out of Waukegan, Illinois, who worked in the plants up there, in the auto plants in Wisconsin, and has been real active here in Chicago, passed away. He is a wonderful man. He served his community wherever he was over the years, and we're going to miss him. So, Bill Drew, we love you, and rest in peace.
There's
Shine
a
on,
wonderful
Bill.
memory, a memorial recollection by Curtis Black about Bill Drew that has actually gotten a lot of attention, and deservedly so. It's in this week's Chicago Reporter, chicagoreporter.com online. I recommend that you check it out. And if you didn't know about Bill Drew, he is someone we should all look up to.
Yeah,
Bill, thanks a lot for your work.
Yeah, Bill, great life, well lived. This Tuesday, the March to Springfield completes itself with a rally and a march on the Capitol. Tuesday, 11 a.m., down in Springfield, 3 hours away if you're driving, 3.5 hours away. Real important to support the hardworking people of that body, the legislature, who have been really doing a big, hard job of getting a budget attempted. So, March on Springfield this Tuesday. Anybody else? Biddy. Tom Tresser is doing something tonight at Playground Theater, but we don't have the address, so we'll try and get that before the end of the show. And one other thing I know, Race Against Hate is coming up. The Evanston YWCA, it's the Ricky Birdsong Memorial Race Against Hate, and that happens on June 18th, Sunday, June 18th, 7:30 a.m. up in Evanston. The other thing you should know about, which you're going to hear more from someone on that next week, is that the annual Artist of the Wall comes up, as it does every June Father's Day weekend. We'll tell you more about that with somebody from the committee next week's show, or 2 weeks from now. 2 weeks from now. Yeah.